Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Louise Winchester, the spiritual business mentor and the founder of Sacred Space. And this is Helen Dunne,
Hello.
the salon mentor. I seem to have lost some one of my video connections here, so just give me 1 second. Looks to be working. It's just gone dark on me. I think it's switched cameras.
I can see you.
See me, but I'm a bit dark, aren't I? Is that better? No.
You're light. You're all light.
Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to be talking about the quantum economy or currency of the new earth and the new earth frequencies and serving the common good. And when this came in a few days ago for discussion, it's been really buzzing through me ever since, and I'm really looking forward to sharing like my own perception or perspective on this, and Helen helping with that process of her view. And if anybody, I've just got to initiate the chat section. Here it is, just in case anybody wants to leave us a comment or communicate with us. If you could leave us a thumbs up or tell us where you're from, that would be really great. Helen's just checking in on whether we've got, what have we got happening on the front end.
I think we've got one person, but that might be just me.
I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, it's not coming up on my mobile. Okay, so if you can leave us a message, that would be really great, because we want to see stuff starting to come up here on the right. So we're going to talk about this quantum economy and currency. Okay, so some people have been through a spiritual awakening. Some people have always been awake, and some people are still asleep. And Helen and I talk quite frequently about trying to stay out of the lower vibrational energies of not being able to see the energetic manipulation of what's going on at a planetary level. So the purpose of this discussion is to really hone in on inside of ourselves, understanding why we're here and who we are here to serve and what our mission actually is, and then aligning ourselves with some form of abundance or exchange energetically associated with that. And that's where we go into the energy of a quantum economy, because we can see happening globally around us the collapse of the old system, the collapse of the old economy. And like over the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to see even more of that. That's going to like be glaringly obvious, like as different parts of the old matrix start to collapse. So it's really important to align yourself with your soul's mission, or how you can ultimately serve others. And I've recently developed like a new webinar called Define Your Niche, in order to dive deeply with people into understanding what has happened in your soul's contract and how that serves you in your destiny and purpose in this life, and try to pull together what your passions are and your gifts and your talents, and combining all of that and aligning it so that you can actually manifest in the new earth energy. Because the new earth energy is very different to the old earth energy. And the old earth energy, where you had the law of attraction and manifestation, you used to be able to just visualize and think something, and then the next minute it would appear. But that doesn't work in 5D energy anymore, because it has to be in alignment with your specific contract. It has to be in alignment with who you're here to serve, who you're here to co-create with, who you're here to have collaboration partnerships with, who you're here to affiliate links with, in order to build the next level of conscious creator energy from source, where you're working your whole field and the people that you're connected with are in resonance with you. They're part of your soul tribe. They are part of your soul family, and you're all working together in harmony and unison, and allowing the flow of the new earth energy to come through your being. I actually wrote down in my notes, humanity is actually going through a creativity change in its energetics, in its like evolution. So humanity is evolving into its creativity. It's allowing itself to blossom where we've been suppressed and controlled and manipulated and pushed down and not allowed to do what we want to do. And now is the time for liberation and for people's energy to come forward into their true spiritual connections to what it is that they love to do, their passions, their desires, their communication, their self-expression. All of this has to come forward, and there's like real fire energy coming up through me as I try to communicate this. Would you not agree, Helen?
100%. Actually, that when as you said that, I just thought, we may have talked about this in another live, but you know, during lockdown, how we saw people starting to cook, get back into their art and do their gardens and finish their projects, and all this creative music and all this suppressed creative energy that we just had, we were putting aside because we had the book work to do.
It's created space. It's created so much space, like as the flip side of the negative polarity, the positive polarity of like the COVID-19. I don't even want to say the damn word. The positive energetics of that is the space to become, evolve, co-create, lift your own frequency into that which you already are, right? But a newer version of yourself where you're like, I was talking to Helen just before we went on the live, explaining to her my own personal journey with being able to speak publicly. And some people know me, some people know this story, and other people don't. But I was born in 1972, and I have had multiple lifetimes where I've lost my head. And I've had to heal a lot of the trauma between my brain and my body and my actual connection to myself in this life, in order to, you wouldn't know it now, but in order to be able to speak publicly. I literally had no ability when I set up Sacred Space to speak my truth energetically to people en masse because of the trauma and the damage that I've been through in other lifetimes. And I think people, I had a sense of, before I came on this live, spirit actually coming through with gratitude and appreciation for my friend here, Helen, for stepping in to help me hold the energy of just even speaking spiritual discussion, because for our generation it is actually much harder than the younger generation to speak our truth, because we were born into like a different frequency of energy. And you have a story, Helen, that you shared with me just before we went on this live, around how your daughter was very outspoken when she was younger, and we would never have been like that or done that. So did
no you? Yeah, like just the young, you know, Grace is now nearly 30, but that whole generation from the late 80s, 90s coming through were just born without the coding that we had. Without that, we were more of a please and thank you and that oppressed kind of coding, whereas they were like, well, what about me? And and I was just sharing with Louise about my husband and I going on a trip, and Grace is like saying, what? Why can't I come? And I couldn't get over how she had this kind of beautiful, but also that kind of not entitled, but I suppose we use that word a lot, but that that presence of what about me, you know, whereas I think as a 5-year-old I would never have done that.
I think it's an expectation that she probably had as a child where she expected to be noticed and acknowledged, whereas our generation didn't expect, we didn't have any expectations. Like we were controlled and manipulated an awful lot more than the younger generation. So we, through the work that we've done, we might have acquired a few more years and wisdom, but it's actually been harder for our generation to actually step up through into using the new technology and working with the energy at the same time. I remember the first time that I actually jumped onto speaking to people and trying to channel information for them, even one-to-one, was incredibly difficult, because your field, you're opening your field up to this massive level energetically, and trying to hold your center and communicate with almost like a completely shut down voice or self-expression. So I think no matter where you're at on your own personal journey of embodiment of your own spiritual purpose, or what is encoded in your contract, you're always going through an up-leveling or shifting or a changing and an evolution process as you ascend up through that.
Definitely.
So,
very much.
So aligning with your soul's mission and understanding the quantum world. Okay, I'm just checking my notes here.
Well, yeah, when you were talking about just soul contractors and that aligning with your soul mission, like I'm reflecting on my life, like, yeah, I've done, I entered the hairdressing industry, but I've always been a teacher, always, even as a child. Like, I did sport and I coached other kids, and then I learnt my craft, and then I coached other more, so you have this, so you don't come into this world, or gone are the days where you come into this world and you get one job and you stay at it and you do that for all your life. Like, I think you have that common thread where, like I said, I've always been a teacher, but it can change, and that's understanding that soul contract, or that part of yourself that is your purpose, and that can mean, like, it means stepping away from things as well, even though they seemed right at the time, but they don't, they might not go well, and after a while, and you need to step away sometimes, but and not necessarily step away from your purpose, but step away from what's not resonating with you and not aligning with that purpose. So.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah.
I talked about that. I have a student that went through the Define Your Niche training with me last Friday, where I talked to her about your whole journey through your what your contract is, or what your mission is, and how it doesn't matter how much work you've actually done on it, you will shift, change, and adapt over time. And it will evolve to a new level, and it will evolve to a new level again. Just because you've completed something, it doesn't mean to say that that's it, you've done and dusted, because you'll keep energetically searching for more and growing as a result of that. We're all, in a school of evolution. And the thing is, though, with the quantum energy and the currency of the new earth, what we will find is a disconnect for people that are not aligning with what's in their soul's contract. So how do I explain this? If you are sticking with the safe and the comfortable, and like that particular job or role is going to pay the bills, right? That will be energetically stripped from you if you have another purpose that you're here to do and deliver. And I actually believe that people need to take note of this now, that if you're not working in alignment with your soul purpose, then you need to start working in alignment with your soul purpose in advance of it getting stripped from you, because inevitably it will be taken away, because a part of the old system is going to be taken down. So I was having a conversation this morning with someone who I was actually explaining the things energetically that serve me in what I do and what I get a kick out of in life now, because I've been around the block, I've been around the globe. I don't need to go anywhere, I don't need to do anything, and the Earth's energy, as beautiful a planet as it is, like, the things that fulfill me are supporting others to come up through into a place of service, so that they are supported, nurtured, and taken care of as they come up through into levels of personal empowerment. And it gives me great honor and great pleasure to actually help serve and facilitate that process. And then the other type of energy is when the celestial connects with me and gives me some incredible wisdom experience, because it's just literally being touched by the highest frequency of energy. And money has no value to me anymore. It really, it's great to pay your bills, but aligning with who you truly are as a person in your fullest capabilities of what your creativity is. Like a fantastic day for me is working on the net, getting asked a question by one of my students, diving in and creating a blog, like, as well as a reply, and putting a post out and doing something like this live, and all the energy around this coming in, and being totally in flow with where my creative channel, my creative energy actually wants to take me. But knowing that I am supported within that experience is where we all have to shift our energy to, and the whole point of this discussion.
That's right. So true. Like, it's just that the universe is back, and it's just knowing that and trusting that you're in the right place at the right time and you're where you should be. And I think that's where even the energy at the moment is like, people need to wake up, but they've got to still trust that in the right space. And that the sooner they trust that, the more will flow into their life as well. So, doing, like you said, doing what you're doing and doing what you love, you're always going to be supported. We always will and mission, following that soul path, always have the results to carry that out. Trusting that is really where we need to be.
There's quite a lot of there was quite a lot of interference coming through your internet connection then.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so I'm just gonna it just triggered one of the things that is a major problem for people, and it's sabotage programs. So that's the name I call these things. So and I also usually talk about hacks in the energy field. So when we are going through major levels of, how do I explain this? Up leveling, trusting who we're working with, putting money into or investing into ourselves and our own purpose and our own mission, sometimes we can get energies try to kick in, and it's you can look at it from two different perspectives. You can look at it from the perspective of dark energies working through or weaving into your reality and trying to stop you from doing something, or you can see it as like a disempowerment program to empower yourself to break through your limitations, right? To take that leap of faith inside of yourself that you need to take, to listen to the resonance of what it is that's in front of you, that's the leap, and feeling what that feels like. And if you listen to the opinions of others and you find that that's taking you off track and you were quite certain about what you were doing, and the opinions of others are like pulling you pulling your energy around, that somewhere encoded in that is what I call a sabotage program. So something trying to sabotage your energy from actually stepping forward into the next level of your own personal empowerment. And understanding what your own truth is paramount. So if your personal truth is not the opinion of what others are mirroring to you, like, you've got to know thyself within. So if you know that working with this person or working with that person, or not working with anybody at all, and finding your own path forward and learning everything yourself is what you need to do, then great. Just make a decision and stick to it, because when we use others and that energy of conversation starts to destabilize your energy field, you know that you've come up against some form of sabotage energy. Because you know, I always say to people, if you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, you can always you will find your way back to your own personal truth. So at some point you will drop away whatever it was, even if you didn't take that doorway at that particular time, and you will come back around to it, and you will find your own personal truth again.
Yeah.
But it's very important that people start to learn how to navigate their own guidance, and learn to navigate if they have an impulse to actually do something, to actually have the courage to dive in, whether it was a right decision, a wrong decision, whatever friggin' decision. But making a decision is empowering and propelling, and gives you the opportunity for soul growth. So no decision will keep you trapped in fear-based consciousness, which is not where we want to sit our energy.
And it's, sorry, I'm interrupting. Yeah, it's following this excitement, really. It's, your soul is, when you're excited about something, it's something that you should be doing. You should be following that. And often we get excited, and then we start to expand on that and think, well, I know I do. It's like, oh, this is a great idea. And then you start, downloads happening. And I find, and I learned early in the piece, don't talk to other people about it, because not until you've got a really good concrete idea, and I am an ideas person. I've always got an idea. So I know people will be like, oh yeah, eyebrows raised. But and I think often we talk to other people and we bring them in on our idea to get that validation of, oh yeah, that's a great idea, you should do that. But then we start to, if we take, they can project their fear because they wouldn't do something like that back onto us, and we're like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't a good idea. And then we don't follow our, our path, or it takes longer to get.
That's a thought form exchange. That's when we've taken on the thought form or the consciousness, of an energy that's trapped in their energy field, and we absorb it into our energy field, and then we've got to process that energy and decide whether that energy is ours or whether that energy is somebody else's. And it can create this pull push going on in your energy field.
Yeah, absolutely. And you take it on, so even family, because they can be the people that sort of inhibit your growth as well a little bit. Because
family's brilliant at manipulating people for their own ends or own gain or own personal agenda. It's that's total karmic disempowerment programs deluxe.
Yeah, but even just fitting. Oh, yeah, fitting. I know. Myself personally, I worked in education, so I was in amongst having said I always wanted to be a teacher and I was on the right path, but I was in amongst a group of lots of different energies, and often you kind of compromise your own soul values to fit into that group. And going back to what I was saying before, if it's not right, you need to get out. And I found myself you know, if I had have said, oh, should I leave? Should I leave? They would have gone, no, no, no. But I had to get out of that because I wasn't following things that I was doing weren't resonating with my soul truth, because I was pulled into that group, you know, ego kind of activity. Yeah, so again, that sort of thing can stop you from following your path as well. That fear of actually, like you said, jumping, taking that leap. And so many people choose to do that because they want to belong. They want to belong to a group, and they don't listen to their own soul, you know, soul calling, saying, you know, you don't belong here. Move out of that. Yeah.
I can actually see that there is some people watching us from my phone, but I can't see it on our screen. So hopefully in the next few weeks we're going to up level our technology again and actually get to a point where we can see anybody asking questions. Has anybody got any questions about what we're saying at the moment? Hello Penelope, hi Maria, hello Jane, hello Alex. Anybody else on the call? Say hi. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to go into next talking about fear and how fear can be a fantastic motivator. So even though we can get fear-based programs running or sabotage programs running, when you are a spiritual entrepreneur or a spiritual business person, sometimes like having those fears become a motivation to you to deliver. Would you not agree? So like even when we're processing energy density, which I always try to deal with straight away, we can have we were talking last night about the difference between fear motivating you to get off your ass and get something done and finished, right? And usually fears around money, but also you had something to say about that from yesterday. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, just wanting to launch into my next idea, my next venture, and just sort of like taking that leap and putting it out there, and hoping that would be received, but also trusting and knowing that it's going where it needs to go. But just the reaction that you get from colleagues or that sort of thing, and like I said, having it, I suppose, a small expectation, but understanding that that it will not getting the reaction that you want also can motivate you into to coming back and saying, okay,
I think
this is going to be a bit different.
I think with me as a fringe dweller, and I call myself a fringe dweller, and where that really comes from is even when I was at school, I would observe what was going on within the school community, and I would be on the edge of it. I would never participate in it, and I would take care of others who fell out of the system of whatever like niches or groups were actually within there. And I've always been a bit of a fringe dweller within my own consciousness, and I find that I have a defiance to the opinion of others that is not supportive or nurturing in a discussion that I might have about my own soul purpose or my own mission in life. And I will literally go the other way if somebody isn't supporting that, to be like quite defiant with it, because if something is that important to you that you need to share it with someone else, then, and if you get a negative, unsupportive response, that drives you even harder to go, I'm going to say it, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway, right? Which is a great motivator again in you have to believe in yourself and your own sense of identity. and what your, you know, what are your unique gifts and talents, and what you want to share with this world, and how you want to interact with people on this planet, and whether you're going to go into density and fear, or whether you're going to rise up and actually stand as a warrior, speak your goddamn truth, do what it is that you're here to do, and help the rest of humanity. So, you know, there is nothing like being in alignment with your own destiny and purpose, because once you are in alignment energetically with that, there's, you know, it's the only way to live. How can you be living in that old paradigm of density and fear-based consciousness? It's like, yuck.
And it is about going it alone, like, and being brave enough to go it alone. And I get exactly what you're saying, because I've been like that too. I've kind of been that helicopter hovering around the outside and just watching what goes on. And often you can be persecuted for not being. It's not that you're not a team player, but you just don't buy into it, and you move. You know, if it doesn't work, you move away and you go into your. You know, you go on to the not the next thing, but well, yes, yeah, but just being a fringe dweller.
Observe, witness consciousness, be the observer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whenever you're getting emotionally triggered, you've always got to try to rise up above that and see what is actually going on. Transcend it ASAP. As soon as possible. Did you want to have a conversation about the triangle, which is victim, rescuer, persecutor?
That's right. Well, it's kind of, you know, that's the drama cycle, isn't it? Like, very like.
Okay, let's introduce people who might not know anything about victim, rescuer, persecutor. Do you want me to lead in a little bit about it? Okay, so whenever a situation is playing out with someone around you, and there's an energetic drain in your own energy field, and I say that where you could have somebody who rings you up and they're telling you about their life, and they're complaining and they are blaming, and you try to support and help and nurture them. They are in the victim and you are in the rescuer. The persecutor is, you know, there's plenty of those. We can see them on social media and through the media at the moment. The persecutors are the top feeders at the moment, and it's all about trying to see your life outside of being ever the victim, the rescuer, or the persecutor, and shifting your energy outside of that whole polarity-based consciousness into full ownership of your thoughts, create your reality, and taking ownership of, are you becoming? And it's easy to do it. It's easy to fall into the rescuer if you're a light worker. You can get triggered if you get really pissed off into being the persecutor. Everybody's got it in them, and saying that you're, you know, absolved of this just because you've become enlightened is not necessarily the case. There's always something somewhere that could push your buttons enough for you to become a persecutor. And then there's the victim, which is the poor me of, like, you know, this situation's occurred. And it's one thing to give sympathy to another, but it's another thing to actually, like, enable. I hear people quite often talk about, oh, I've helped this person, like, they're living in my place and now they've become a nightmare, and I just said yes for a couple of weeks, kind of, you know. Then you're the rescuer, and they're actually the persecutor. It's another bloody story where they become the pain in the ass, right? So it's a fine line between helping and enabling, right? So you enable that if you support that person too much, you're enabling them to actually sit in the energy of where they're still stuck.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you want to talk about victim rescue?
Yeah, like, it's, you know, we all kind of, you know, oscillate between all of those, as long as we're aware of it and we know, we don't sit in those fields for too long. Don't be the why has this happened to me and poor me, and then we'll move, then move out. And then also when we encounter our encounters with other people, that we actually recognise that these are part of the drama cycles. So when we have got that rescuing tendency, we can also say, okay, look, I'll help you, but I'll help you help yourself as well. What are you going to do to what can we do to make this better in both ways? So you're not constantly being that person, giving of your energy and rescuing and being the person that people run to all the time. Because then that does catapult you into, oh gosh, then you become aggressive. So it's kind of
no, or you can go the other way, where your life force is so depleted by supporting others, which is an energy that, like, I've had to transcend myself, which is giving and giving and giving my energy when I actually needed to pull back my energy, because otherwise there's not enough balance in my own energy field. So I've gone through my own processes around that. So we're all in process of the evolution, but understanding that victim, rescuer, persecutor actually exists, and trying to transcend like any situation that actually occurs and shift your energy up into beyond that. There's no problem with getting help or getting people to support you, or getting like people to work on your energy, or whatever it takes to shift up. But just becoming aware of, shit, I'm now in victim, rescuer, persecutor, like as a triangle. What do I need to do to get my energy up out of that? So that's the part that I'm trying to communicate needs to be transcended. We actually have to become more conscious of any time that we're sitting in that energy, doing some work on ourselves and changing the energy around it. So if you change the energy around it, you change the situations, you have the power to actually recreate these energies yourself. I do have I mentioned it last week, I've got a meditation. I seem to have lost Helen at the moment. I can hear you on audio, but your visual's not good. I've got a meditation, if anybody's interested, on louisewinchester.com in the blog area on changing your thoughts and recreating your reality. You can use it any time to actually duck in, listen on headphones, and try and recreate the energy of a situation for yourself if you're triggered. And then if you're struggling with an energy in recalibrating yourself, that you can step out of that triangle of victim, rescuer, persecutor, then you need some support to do that. And if you call out to your friends to discuss things, that's perfectly all right. That's not what we were suggesting. What we're saying is, don't get caught in the rescuer trap, and don't get caught in the victim trap, and don't get caught in the persecutor trap, because all of those have a karmic consequence with your energy. Like, how long do you want to stay in a shit energy for? You want to get out of it and raise your frequency as fast as possible. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm just going to have a look. I've got a couple of comments here. So actually, I've got Penelope. She's felt an utter disconnect with two people that she's close to, and been wondering if that was something to do with, following my soul's purpose. It has surprised me quite a lot. Well, it really depends on the situation, but I would say to you, Penelope, that when you go through spiritual initiations and attunements, that you always get people that you have to eliminate or cut out of your life as you go through an evolution process. It's like I took so many different spiritual initiations, and it was like whoever was around me, I literally just had to walk the path alone, because people left. And you have to accept that what is no longer in resonance with you and at the same frequency as you, if it can't evolve and come up to your level, you don't want to drop your level down, because you've taken in a spiritual initiation to come up in frequency, and you would have gone through a purification process to come up in frequency. So it is, you know, sometimes it's a test or a challenge as to whether they can shift up into frequency, and if they can't, then sometimes you have to let people go. You're welcome, darling. Okay, that was just Penelope responding then. Okay, so the new earth energy, the quantum energy, it is about co-creative collaboration projects with other people. It's about affiliates. It's about getting yourself online. It's about upskilling and learning how to work with people with the new technology. It's all of these things. Okay, but one of the negatives actually happening in the spiritual industry I want to dive into and talk about right now is we were discussing it before. It's understanding a person, their own motivations when they come to ask to co-create or collaborate, and expecting someone who has mastered a specific craft just because they're in the spiritual industry to not have to pay for their services, or expect some form of like trade exchange, like services for services side of things, and how much better it would be if you just honored what it is they do, what they've dedicated their lives to, what they've spent time and energy and a lot of money on actually becoming a master of. And I see quite often within the spiritual industry a spiritual industry person dishonoring another spiritual industry person by expecting that person to just come on board and do work for them for free, when that's how they earn money, which is not a respectful way to honor the co-creation or the collaboration or the whatever. It's like I quite often see a bit of manipulation going on in using the card of, because you're spiritual, you should, I'm expecting you to do stuff for me for free, which is not cool. It has to be like, it's one thing to have a friendship where you go, okay, yeah, I'm all right, you do that and I do this, and money's never talked about or whatever. But when you don't know someone from a bar of soap and then you expect them to just, you know, create whatever for you, that's not cool. So anybody doing that in the spiritual industry, like, this is a shout out to you, and not something that I've had people disrespect my energy before, but it's not something that's going on for me right now. I'm just raising it as a topic where, you know, people still live within the new earth energy, and we should all honor one another in this.
Yeah, they'll pay big bucks to go and buy a handbag, but won't pay, you know, for you know, something that's actually going to, professionally, not professionally, but spiritually improve them, and it's that value.
Professionally improve them, right?
On all levels. Like it even happens with football players being paid, you know, 6-figure salaries, when, you know, a healer is paid $50 an hour. It's ridiculous. When, you know, you've got a life-changing treatment that's, you know, that's there to benefit you for the rest of your life, yet you put a low value on that. I mean, I've never personally done it either. Like, I've always, you know, even, you know, I'm always giving people more than what. But it happens. It does happen. It's such a real topic.
Yeah, and the universe taught me something really valuable at one point. It taught me value equals accountability. So when you actually have to pay for something, you value it more, and you will put the work in yourself in order to actually get the result, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like a Newtonian spiritual equation that, you know, energy should, you know, we as light workers, we love everything to be free. It's very hard for us to step into our power. It takes a long time before you break through the limitations of self-worth in order to actually ask to be paid for the work in value for what it is that you do, because you want to give your energy and services in a world where everything is free and everything is done on an energetic exchange. And the thing is, that is actually happening, but we still have to operate within the current you know, finite financial system and live.
Definitely.
Right? But aligning yourself with, you know, service to others is the greatest gift that you can not only give yourself, but to support others with. And obviously there's a lot of different types of light workers and spiritual business industry professionals that are needed, and I've written about this in my book Monetize Your Magic, which is available on louisewinchester.com if anybody's interested in reading it. I talk about all the different types of light workers that are needed with the new earth energy. Okay, let's just see, is there anything else about the quantum economy that we want to talk about? I think I've covered it all. Has anybody got any questions before we dive off? I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week, but I'm sure that we'll come up with some subject.
It'll come up.
It will come up. The energy comes in, downloads, even though it's a little bit bumpy in between. I think everybody's, I don't know how many, we've still got 4 people on the call. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Do you have anything to add, Helen?
I think we've covered everything, really. It's been a really good conversation. It's been
an interesting one.
It has, and I'm sure out of this we'll be able to expand more.
Yeah. Well, if anybody is interested in what I do, I shall have some links in down below. I have a group going through my personal training program called Quantum Leap, which starts next Wednesday, 26th of August. And Helen also is teaching people within the salon and beauty industry with her Salonpreneur program. Did you want to talk about your scholarship that you're doing?
Yeah, I've just offered a free scholarship into my pilot program. It's a new course I've developed about like running a spiritual hair and beauty salon. And so I thought I'd just offer, I've got a few people already, but I thought just to kind of like expand and get that word out a bit more, I'd offer a free scholarship to someone in the industry. So if you know anybody that is
so anybody who wants to leave a DM me, you know, like leave a message for Helen to go into the possibility of getting a free scholarship into her training program. When will you be drawing that name?
I'm actually going to draw it out tomorrow, so they haven't got very much time, but if they DM Louise, who'll DM me, and I'll share the details, and I'll extend if I need to, but the course starts on Monday, so
okay, all right, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're if anybody's interested in that, great. What a gift.
It's exciting. I'm excited.
Energy is all about giving gifts too.
It is.
Okay, well, thank you so much, anybody who has watched this broadcast. If you have any questions or you want us to talk about any metaphysical, spiritual perspectives or viewpoints on things in the future, then please leave us a comment, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you and where you are in the world. And thank you for watching. I Blessings to you all, and we will be back next week to talk about something else. Bye for now.
Bye.